Here's what's coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
One person has been found shot to death near a restaurant here in West Charlotte, and CMPD is still investigating here on Roswell's Ferry Road. We're live at the scene with the latest.
This morning, the latest numbers in a growing outbreak of measles, also flu and whooping cough cases across the Carolinas. The urgent calls from health leaders hoping to keep you safe going into the new year.
CMPD calling on the public for help as huge crowds head into Uptown for New Year's Eve celebrations.
CMPD is ready to keep the party safe and fun, but we need your help.
What they want you to keep in mind as you ring in the new year.
Tonight, many of us will be locking in our goals for 2026.
We'll tell you the expert ways to actually keep your resolutions next year. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
It's been quiet outside all morning long, but beautiful. The last sunrise of 2025 is underway, 29 degrees, and no accidents to report as of now. Chris.
We have an average end of the year and an above average beginning to next year. We will see a cool down with our only rain chance. No sunshine for Saturday, but after that, waste no time getting back to the lower 60s. So all in all, great start to the year.
We like it. And we've been talking about it all morning long. What is your New Year's resolution? Let's take a look at what some of you say. Stay active and healthy.
Not to make resolutions.
Easy,
okay.
right? Yeah.
Stay sober. I really hope that happens for you. Spend more time with the grandchildren. Yes, playing with them.
And all these resolutions, I mean, all of them are equal. But there was one that sort of stuck out. My resolution is not to miss a single day of watching you guys in the morning.
I don't know who you are,
That's
but we
the
love
winner.
you.
Ding, 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 ding.
I mean, I can't argue with that one. Keep texting 704-329-3600. We'll get a look at what some of you guys are saying over on WCNC Plus.
All right, make it a great morning.
Happy New Year.
streaming live right now at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We begin with breaking news this morning. CMPD investigating a homicide in West Charlotte.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live at the scene on Rosl's Ferry Road. So, Destiny, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, we know one person was found shot to death near a restaurant here on the 2700 block of Rosl's Ferry Road, and police have been investigating all morning long. We can see the active scene still here this morning. A couple of police cruisers have left, but we still have investigators on scene outside of Capitaine Bar and Grill. We don't know for sure where exactly in this area that police found this person or where this shooting happened, but most of their investigation has been focused on this establishment, on vehicles still in the parking lot of this restaurant as well. And CMPD did tell us that they don't believe there's a threat to the public. They believe this is an isolated incident.
At this point in time, we are not looking for any suspects, and there's no ongoing threat to the community. This is very early on in the investigation. A lot of things that our detectives are diligently working through. And as we have additional information, we're going to get that out to our community.
Police say they arrived here just after 2:30 this morning, so they have been out here for a long time, still doing their investigation, and we've just been observing what they've been doing this morning. And they're still asking for information. Anyone who can assist in the investigation is asked to contact their homicide unit, or you can leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers. That number is 704-334-1600. I'll send it back to you guys live here from West Charlotte.
Thanks a lot, Destiny. December 31st. Crazy seeing it on the screen. Official sunrise time today is at 7:31, so less than 30 minutes to go until the last one at 20:25. And then moving forward, all in all, it is going to be a delightful forecast. We have actually a decent amount of sunshine that's going to be here with us for the start of the year. Just a few passing clouds in the short term, so it's going to be a good one. However, one thing to mention, this is one thing that we often overlook for the forecast. It is going to be a breezy day, which is going to make you feel on and off wind chilly at times. Right now, we don't really have too much of a wind, only 3-mile-per-hour breeze coming out of the westerly direction right now. That's 29 degrees, feeling like 29. You need to get above that 3 for us to really have a wind chill. Current temperatures warmer than yesterday for the mountains by about 5 degrees for some of you, 20 for you in Boone, 32 around Hickory, and then rocking the mid to the upper 20s along the I-85 corridor. Look at that pup, having a great time, getting ready for 2026. Cool glasses, man. 53 degrees is where we should be, and that's exactly where we're going to be for the afternoon, but we are increasing the cloud cover slightly. So for your New Year's Eve forecast, first of the day, near normal to end the year, above normal to begin next year. 2026 typically starts around 52, or any given year here around Charlotte. We're going to be about 8 degrees above that. But the first rain chance of 2026, we have an isolated chance on Friday night, but I think it's more so going to be a Saturday morning to Saturday afternoon deal. Saturday is not the pick of the weekend, my friends, because of all this jazz heading our way. So we have a front that moves in that is going to stall out and keep it cloudy for your Friday, mainly during the afternoon. Then we have this low pressure system that's moving in from the west. Once that gets a little bit close to us, that's where the rain starts. And I don't think this is going to be a tremendous torrential downpours. It looks to be more light to moderate rain, but that's a good soaking of rain that's going to move in from the west. And it'll be directly over us heading into your Saturday afternoon, and then eventually dry air works in, and we should be done by your Saturday evening. Now, there's a lot of question marks. This could speed up. That's going to be less rain, a shorter time frame that will have rain. So we're still watching it pretty closely, because yesterday I had an isolated rain chance and I moved it all the way up to widespread, the way things are starting to trend. And then behind that, we have a nice high pressure system. It's going to clear things out and dry things out. As far as how much rain we're going to see, most of that rain falling for at least the first half of your Saturday. I think anywhere from about a quarter to a half looks to be the upper threshold for now, but that's one system I think can change. So we have Saturday, 48 degrees, but for your Sunday, 53. Enjoy that, because this 53 that we have on Sunday is almost exactly what we're dealing with for today. And our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast shows that after we have that cool down with a lack of sunshine on Saturday, we're all the way back up to the lower 60s on Tuesday. And we might even be talking about multiple days in the 60s as we are completing everything, as the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook is trending to be at least normal to above normal through the first 2 weeks of January. So all right, all right. Let's see if traffic is all right this morning with Majestic. Good morning. Good to have you back.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be back. It's been such a quiet start to our Wednesday morning commute, but that makes sense. It's New Year's Eve. The kids are out of school. A lot of people have the day off of work. This is Blowing Rock right here. Of course, not much traffic whatsoever, but it is just chilly outside for everyone. So grab that layer before you head out the door. Starting to see some really pretty colors in the sky there at Beach Mountain, and much of the same here on King Street in Boone, where it is quiet. I-77 here at Gold Hill. This is coming in from South Carolina. A little busier, of course, but not nearly as busy as what we would typically expect to see this time of the day if it wasn't a holiday. And then this is just stunning. You can see that sun starting to rise right there coming up over the Queen City. Big picture perspective right here. We have all green along I-40, I-77, I-85, so no big problems across our major interstates. And even as we zoom it on in, we typically would have a whole lot of icons popping up at this point, meaning we have accidents, we have construction, we have stalled vehicle. But some good news for your Wednesday morning commute, I don't have a single icon in place right now. So if you're making that morning commute in from Rock Hill to Fort Mill, it may not take you quite as long, so you might just get to stay home a little bit longer before you do head towards Charlotte. And then I-85 here, a little bit of yellow, but really not saying anything significant across the board. We'll have another check on those roads coming up for you here soon.
Majestic, thanks. Right now, 7:06, we're going to take a live look over New York City, where thousands of people from across the country are traveling to get an up-close look at that giant crystal ball that will be dropping tonight to ring in the new year. However, not everyone will be ringing in the new year in the Big Apple. Many people will be hitting the streets of Charlotte tonight, and CMPD is encouraging everyone to have a good time safely.
The department releasing a video going over some tips to keep you and your loved ones protected. Take a listen.
Hey Charlotte, New Year's Eve is almost here, and many of you will be celebrating in Center City. CMPD is ready to keep the party safe and fun, but we need your help.
Here's what CMPD wants you to consider. Stay alert and aware of your surroundings. If you see something out of the ordinary, say something and contact authorities. Keep your belongings secure and be sure to lock up any valuables. If you are going to drink, make sure you plan ahead, secure a ride home. Also check your rideshare vehicle to make sure you are getting into the right car. And please leave fireworks to the professionals.
Well, speaking of safe celebrations, the Charlotte Knights are helping people ring in the new year right here in the Queen City. Light the Knights New Year's Eve party starts tonight at 8 at Truist Field. You can enjoy activities, light displays, and more. And of course, a fireworks show at midnight. Tickets start at $16.
Today, some streets in Uptown are going to be closed for New Year's festivities, and CATS will be temporarily adjusting some of its bus routes in response. Starting this afternoon at 5, CATS buses will skip stops along South Tryon between 3rd Street and Brooklyn Village Avenue and 4th Street between Church and Graham Street. The routes are expected to resume tomorrow morning.
New developments this morning. Wadesboro police announcing multiple arrests in connection to a deadly shooting on Christmas Day. Quantarius Little and Keelan White are charged with first-degree murder. A third person, Michaela White, was also arrested and faces conspiracy and obstruction of justice charges. Police say they found the victim, Robert Pratt Jr., on Montgomery Street right off Salisbury Street. Officers believe that shooting stemmed from a fight earlier in the day. The investigation is ongoing. This morning, Sycamore Brewing is announcing a temporary closure amid the ongoing controversy surrounding its former co-owner. In a statement, owner Sarah Taylor says the closure will start January 5th to allow space for processing, healing, and the beginning of work to reimagine this community space. She goes on to say Sycamore will be partnering with organizations dedicated to child safety and protection. Taylor added she has started divorce proceedings from her husband and now former business partner, who is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl.
7:09 right now on WCNC Plus, and investigators are still working to learn what caused this house fire that left the father of NASCAR star Denny Hamlin dead and his mother in the hospital. The tragic incident now raising new concerns about fire safety, even in homes equipped with modern protections. Safety advocates say the incident is a really good reminder that house fires can happen to anybody.
They happen way more often than hurricanes and tornadoes and all of the things that you hear on the front page news, but people don't think it's going to happen to them.
His mother currently being treated in Winston-Salem, which raises another challenging reality that Charlotte does not have a dedicated burn sitter. That means patients with serious burns are often transferred to facilities outside the region for specialized treatment. Meanwhile, tributes pouring in, NASCAR releasing a statement extending its deepest condolences to the Hamlin family, saying, quote, Dennis Hamlin installed a love of racing in his son and sacrificed greatly to help develop Denny into a world-class talent in the sport. 2311 Racing also releasing a statement saying, quote, everybody's deeply saddened by the tragic news concerning the Hamlin family. They went on to say their thoughts and prayers remain with the family and his mom. And NBC's Sam Brock reports Denny's dad was the driving force behind his success.
Hours after flames tore through this North Carolina home, killing Dennis Hamlin and critically injuring his wife, Mary Lou, Sunday evening.
Someone's hurt, multiple burns.
Investigators now digging into what caused the fire.
Championship bound indeed.
Thank you.
He's emotional.
Their NASCAR driver's son, Denny, a racing star.
We all know you earned that one for your dad.
Hamlin fighting tears after claiming his 60th career victory in October, honoring his father, who was already ill.
I appreciate all of you so much.
It's okay.
Yeah, just obviously want to say hi to my dad.
A portrait emerging of the immense sacrifices the couple made. The three-time Daytona 500 winner opening up about his family's struggles to finance his career, including mortgaging multiple homes.
It's every credit card that comes through the mail. Okay, we'll use it.
NASCAR describing Hamlin sitting on his father's lap to watch televised races as a child as Dennis discovered the youngster's aptitude for the sport, beginning with go-karts.
I am more proud of the young man he turned out to be than I ever would be the race car driver.
Hamlin, a father himself, writing on Facebook in 2019, I'm lucky to have you and Mom to help me learn how to be the best dad I can be. Thank you, and I love you. In a sport still reeling from the tragic plane crash that killed driver Greg Biffle and his family less than 2 weeks ago.
He's emotional.
Hearts hurting all over again. Sam Brock, NBC News.
Congress demanding answers from the White House after another strike on Venezuela. Why this latest attack is ramping up tensions between the two countries.
As the Panthers prepare for one of their most important games of the season, we are getting fans ready here at home. Our Danielle Stein is going to be live in Tampa, providing extended coverage right here on WCNC Plus beginning Friday.
And if you can't make it to Tampa, you can watch the game with us. We're going to be live right here on WCNC Plus for a game night watch party starting at 4 o'clock Saturday with real-time reaction and analysis, including from former NFL safety Eugene Robinson.
House Democrats pressing the White House for answers after President Trump confirmed a U.S. strike inside Venezuela.
Now, if confirmed, it would mark the first potential land strike as the administration ramps up pressure on the Maduro regime. NBC's Bianca Fascini has more on the pushback here at home.
Members of Congress demanding answers from President Trump after he announced a land-based strike on Venezuela.
I consider that a military act and a potential act of war, and the president needs to be talking to the Congress.
The president said the strike targeted a docking facility used by boats carrying drugs.
They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
It's the latest move carried out by the U.S. against Venezuela since September, when the Trump administration started launching strikes against Venezuelan boats that they say were trafficking drugs. But this strike is making members in both parties concerned.
They've been very clear about targeting these drug boats, so we have clear information there. But threatening Venezuela itself, they've been very cryptic and very, I would say, unclear with what they're trying to do there.
The Venezuelan government has yet to comment on the land strike, but President Trump says he spoke with President Nicolas Maduro recently, without elaborating much.
I spoke to him recently, pretty recently. But nothing much comes of it.
It remains unclear if anyone in Congress was notified ahead of time, but since this move was carried out by the CIA as opposed to the military, the administration did not seek permission from Congress to conduct it. According to one source familiar with the matter, House Democrats have requested that the White House provide a briefing to all relevant committees on the strike. So we could eventually find out more details about exactly what happened, but it's still unclear what the potential endgame is for the administration here. In Washington, Bianca Fascini, NBC News.
A body was found in the search for a Texas teen, Camila Olmos. Authorities are still trying to determine if the remains are that of the missing 19-year-old. Authorities say they located a body with a firearm during the ongoing search. An alert was issued for Camila on Christmas Day. Since her disappearance, law enforcement and volunteers have conducted large daily searches near her home.
Immigration officials say they will not detain Kilmar Abrego Garcia as long as a judge bans it. Garcia is trying to stay in the U.S. after he was mistakenly deported back to his home country of El Salvador. Earlier this month, a judge questioned whether government officials would follow orders barring them from taking him into custody or deporting him. The Department of Health and Human Services is freezing all federal child care payments to Minnesota. This after a viral video alleged widespread fraud at child care facilities across the state. HHS also says it's implementing new requirements for child care payments nationwide.
7:18 right now on WCNC Plus. Live pictures right now over Times Square. That area is going to be packed in just a few hours with about 1 million people as those New Year's celebrations get underway. Coming up, we're going to take a look at your New Year's Eve forecast.
Welcome back, everyone, and I thank you one last time this year for joining us here on WCNC Plus. We started this earlier in the year, and we hope you stick with us through 2026. Now let's get to our 2025 Weather Ranks recap. These are the two stats that stood out from all the rest. I'm not going to talk about the 56th warmest lows or anything like that, but as far as our average temperature, averaging all the highs and lows across 365 days, technically it's only 364, we're not quite there. We are tied for the 7th warmest year on record, and that dates back to 1878. Technically 1879 was where we had our first full year of records, and then this is also the 20th driest year on record, just over 35 inches of total precipitation. That's about 7 to 8 inches below from where we usually are to end a typical year. So yeah, it's been really dry and warm overall. Not the warmest of all time, though. The warmest of all time was actually last year. 2024 tied 1990 with an average of 64 degrees. But officially, if this holds, unless something happens, it is a little bit cooler, that somehow we slip down by a 0.05. Well, looks like we're going to be tied for the 7th warmest. What's really interesting is notice these green balls that I added. That now officially means that 7 of the top 10 warmest years on record all happened since 2016. So really kind of a backup that, yeah, we are getting warmer in recent years. Also, fun stat heading into January. Many people think January, it's going to be colder, and it typically does. We average a high of 52 degrees during the month, but to get an average like that, you have to have warmer temperatures as well. Well, I looked back in Charlotte history, and 74 of the last 147 Januaries, at least 74 of those have hit 70 degrees plus. So that means we have just over a 50% chance that a given January will hit 70 degrees at least once. And to bring that stat a little bit further, we actually average 5 to 6 days in the 60s. That's amazing, and that's exactly what we're going to see. So for the last day of 2025, it's going to be a good one. An average right around 53 degrees, and then moving forward for the first day of 2026, well, right around midnight, we're at 40 degrees. That's extremely mild, but 60 degrees for New Year's Day. That's about 8 degrees above the normal. And then once you get to Friday, clouds start to increase, still the upper 50s, still above normal. Saturday is the only day that isolates itself from all the rest. That's going to be cooler because of those rain chances. Again, it's Friday night heading into Saturday. Outside of that, it's a relatively dry first week of the new year. So happy early new year, everyone. We're almost there. It's been a good one so far, and it's also a quiet beginning to the last day of the year so far, at least around the Charlotte area.
It's been so quiet. Really haven't had any big problems, and we're not complaining. That's what we would anticipate with lots of people off of work. Of course, kids out of school still. Look at how pretty this is, though. Beach Mountain, a little bit of that sunrise. You can see it starting there. However, area roadways look great. Not even seeing any fog up in the high country. Rock Hill, this is what it's looking like out there this morning. Nice and quiet. You, of course, do have some cars out on those roads, but we're not seeing that congestion like we typically would on a typical work or school day. This is I-77 there at Gold Hill. And then once we're looking at I-77 a little closer to Uptown, it is just smooth moving. Now, big picture perspective, I-40 continues to look great. I-77 and I-85, no problems there. But once we head a little closer to Uptown, we now have an active crash to let you know about. This time it's going to be on Tryon Street at College Tryon Street. I like to see still a lot of green around it, meaning that there isn't any significant delays with that one, but I'll of course let you know if things do change there. Once we're looking at I-77, if you're making that morning commute in from Rock Hill, Fort Mill, things look great, even out towards Union County. Out in Monroe or 485, really green has been the name of the game all morning long. In Gaston County, whether you're taking I-85 or 321, things continue to flow nice and smooth for that morning commute. As things continue to change, I'll be sure to let you know, but there's a quick look at some of those drive times. If you're coming in from Salisbury to Charlotte, it'll take you around 40 minutes or so.
Majestic, thanks. Live pictures right now over Uptown, courtesy of our WCNC tower camera on this, the last day of 2025. It's a cold one to start off. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everybody. This camera's really shaking over here in Anson County. It's going to be a breezy day. Overall, we're looking at moderate wind gusts, moderate to a fresh breeze that's about 13 to 24 mile per hour winds. So small trees are going to be swaying in the breeze today. 53 for a high. That's right where we should be. And that's an average end of 2025 and should be an average evening as well. Right around 40 degrees as we're saying goodbye to 2025 and Happy New Year. Tomorrow, by the way, a decent start to 2026. Sunshine across the board. High temperatures in the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. That's about 8 degrees above the norm. As far as our rain chances heading into the new year, one stands out from all the rest. That is Saturday. So it starts on Friday night, but really Saturday morning into the afternoon is our next best rain chance. That's also the coolest day where we're lacking sunshine, and then we're back to 60 before you know it. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
It's gorgeous outside, nice and clear, but definitely cold. So grab that layer before you head out for your morning commute. Once we switch it over to our live traffic map, it's been really a quiet morning overall, following one active crash for you this morning, though. It's right near Uptown. As we zoom it in, still seeing a lot of green with it. It's on College Street at 13th Street, specifically the North Tryon Street ramp. So be mindful of that if you're heading out the door. We'll have more coming up soon.
Streaming live right now at 7:30 right now on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We begin with breaking news this morning. CMPD investigating a homicide in West Charlotte. We're going to show you a live look from that scene. This is on Roswell's Ferry Road, where officers responded just before 2:30 this morning. You can see a number of police there standing close to the street there. When they arrived, we were told that they found a victim who had several gunshot wounds. That person was pronounced dead at the scene. Right now, homicide detectives are focusing their investigation on the Capitaine Bar and Grill. They do say this is very early in the investigation. Of course, there are a lot of questions right now. You can see it's still a very active investigation with CMPD on that scene. As we get more information, we will certainly pass it along to you. We do know that one thing we've heard them say is that this is an isolated incident.
At this point in time, we are not looking for any suspects, and there's no ongoing threat to the community. This is very early on in the investigation. A lot of things that our detectives are diligently working through. And as we have additional information, we're going to get that out to our community.
You can hear from CMPD earlier this morning. You see the active investigation. Anyone with information about this should call CMPD.
All right. 7:31 right now. Turning back to your forecast on this last day of 2025, Chris.
And the last sunrise. Check it out. You said 7:31. We are living it, y'all. This is the sunrise time, and it's not going to change too much over the next couple of weeks. So December 31st, sunrise time of 7:31. Once you get to January 2nd, we have our latest sunrise time of at least the winter time. That's going to be 7:32. And the reason why I say winter time is technically when we spring forward, it does hit its latest point around, I think it's 7:48, but then that quickly decreases just because we are heading closer and closer to spring. As far as the earliest sunset time, we already did that. So those will continue to get later and later, and then much later once we spring forward around March 8th. So our tower camera showing 29 degrees, feeling like 29, so not much of a wind chill for the time being. Current temperatures elsewhere, 32 for you in Hickory and Statesville, much warmer than just 24 hours ago. In Boone, you were at 16 at this point with a wind chill of -1. Yeah, you're doing much better with 21 degrees and a slight wind chill, but at least it's nothing comparatively. And our dog of the day, which I feature, by the way, every morning over on WCNC Charlotte, of course, on our TV channel, Susan and David Holler. So big shout out to Lily Gale. And Lily Gale, you look so nice in your pearls, by the way. So you're dressed in your best heading into the new year. For the last morning of 2025, sunshine galore, temperatures back around 50 degrees come 1 p.m. But we will have more clouds by the middle of the afternoon. Still a decent day to celebrate like this dog. Look at those glasses. Those are great. Picking up more clouds by the end of the day. High around 53, which, by the way, is where we should be this time of year. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! For the first of the year, we typically average 52 degrees with a low of 32. Instead, we're going to be much warmer than that to begin 2026, and eventually we'll start to adjust things. But for the first day, expect sunshine all day long with a high temperature right around 60 degrees. That is sensational. That's about a 8-degree bump. The next day on Friday, if you're going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl, well, Wake Forest taking on Mississippi State. We have some Mississippi State alums. I'm looking at one right now. Right around 50 degrees is what we're looking at for the start of that game. I do have a 20% chance for rain. Only reason why is that system that's going to lead to our next big wet weather maker could be working its way in, where the wettest day to start off the new year will be this coming Saturday. A decent amount of rain coming with this. We went from pretty much an isolated to a scattered chance to a widespread potential, and it's all because of this low pressure system moves in. Thank goodness we're on the warmer side, or else this could be a big snowmaker. All rain expected for your Saturday morning. I think it's certainly going to be a wet morning. It just depends on how fast it's going to move, about how much of the afternoon is taken up by rain. Regardless, not anticipating a sunny day whatsoever. That's why I moved highs down to the upper 40s, and then beyond that, we're going to begin another warm-up. It's going to be a nice little surge. Check it out. Temperatures getting back into the lower 60s as early as Tuesday, and we're going to stay around that range as well, lower to the mid-60s, heading into day 6, 7, 8, and 9 of the new year. Not too bad. That's pretty much been the status of this morning's commute. Majestic, any new updates?
Good morning, everyone. Still pretty quiet overall. Not perfect, but definitely a lot quieter than what we would typically see this time of the day. This is I-77 at Gold Hill, so again, out towards South Carolina. And as we're looking up in the mountains, I've had my eyes there, and mainly I'm just looking at this gorgeous sunrise. Look at this coming in from Beach Mountain. Lots of pinks and purples and oranges in the sky as we are now looking at our final sunrise of the year. Again, no big problems as we're looking in South Carolina. North Carolina has been pretty quiet as a whole as well, but also just another really beautiful but chilly start to the morning. So as you're heading out the door for your morning commute, grab that heavy jacket. Now, as we're looking at my map, we do have that one active crash for you this morning. It's right near Uptown. It's on College Street at East 13th Street. Specifically, it's on the North Tryon Street ramp. Still, I like to see a lot of green with it, meaning that traffic is just flowing fine around it, not seeing any significant delays or anything like that. Out there in Gaston County, good morning to you if you're making your commute in from I-85. Typically, we also see some congestion inbound at this time of the day, 7:35 right now. But again, it is quiet. Even if you're coming in from Rock Hill, Fort Mill, no big problems or delays. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take a look at some of those drive times, which, as you could probably expect, they are looking fantastic for your Wednesday morning commute.
An Iredell County family is still recovering after nearly losing their lives in a house fire. This happened just before Christmas. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith has the story.
The Farrell's road to recovery not only includes the items burned away in this home here behind me, but the recovery of their children's health, where minutes made the difference between life and death.
I just had to get my babies out I didn't see anyone outside when I was screaming, so I guess I acted on instinct.
An instinct that saved Shayla Adair and Hunter Farrell's children in just minutes, only days before Christmas.
When I started crawling, I seen like a little hand in the black, and I grabbed him and I dragged him out, and that's when he started opening his eyes, so at least he started coming to. And then I started yelling for my daughter, and I seen her face pop up on the back of the couch, so I climbed up on the back of the couch and dragged her out as well.
In my eyes, she's a hero, and a lot of others, she's a hero as well.
Adair says once she noticed the black smoke filling the room where she was with her youngest child, she immediately exited the home and placed the baby outside. She tells me she then entered the home again, walking through flames to find her daughter and oldest son.
The Lord was working through me for sure. Had he not been, I don't know that I would have found my son. He was just in the pitch black. Had he not guided me in that kitchen direction, I wouldn't have found the hand to drag him, and he wouldn't be here today.
While the Farrell family has lost all of their material possessions in the house fire.
Clothing and toys for the kids, shoes, and just basic necessities. I mean, we lost plates, cups, everything's got to be replaced at this point.
The most important thing that cannot be replaced is their main concern as their oldest son, Grayson, recovers from cancer.
Our son, he is in ICU and has been there for a week now. He had to get life flighted in, so we can imagine the medical expenses for him are going to be phenomenal.
The family is accepting donations via their GoFundMe page. For ways to donate and support, visit our WCNC mobile app. In Statesville, Bria Smith, WCNC Charlotte.
An update this morning, a memorial service is scheduled for next month for the victims killed in that Statesville plane crash, including Greg Biffle and his family, along with Craig Wadsworth and Dennis and Jack Dutton. It is set for January 16th at the Bojangles Coliseum. It's open to the public. More details will be coming.
Right now, a man wanted for an Anson County shooting death in October is back behind bars. Authorities say 23-year-old Devon Ramsey was first arrested December 2nd in Chesterfield County, awaiting extradition. However, he was released last week because South Carolina law states the requesting agency, in this case North Carolina, had 20 days to take custody of that person or they would be released, which is what happened. Eventually, Ramsey was rearrested in Union County. He faces several charges, including first-degree murder. This morning, an investigation continues after a deadly shooting over vape pens. Mooresville police responded to Mazeppa Park just after 8:30 Monday night. That is where they found two teens shot. One died at the scene, the other hospitalized. Right now, 5 people, including teens, are facing several charges, including murder.
This week marks 2 years since Greensboro Police Sergeant Dale Nix died in a shooting as he tried to stop shoplifters. As Amber Lake reports, his legacy still shapes the city.
When I woke up this morning, I have to say I was, it was really hard.
2 years passed and Sergeant Dale Nix was shot and killed. He served Greensboro for more than 20 years. He was a leader at the Family Justice Center, advocating for victims and holding offenders accountable.
Always very considerate, respectful. I just, just can't say more because he was just someone who everyone just loved.
Inside the Family Justice Center, the grief still comes in waves, even 2 years later.
Just the littlest thing can pop up and, kind of have you in tears and just have you thinking about him and missing him.
But for those who worked beside him, Sergeant Nix's influence never left.
If you're working a certain case and you want to be a little bit more receptive to victims, you would ask yourself, hey, what would Dale do in this case? Or how would he approach a certain situation?
And as Greensboro continues to heal, those closest to him say the mission remains clear.
Dale's legacy, he kind of left like an imprint on us to get justice for victims, hold offenders accountable, and we're going to continue to do that as a community and as a police department.
Sergeant Nix's loss, it's not just a loss to the Greensboro Police Department, the Family Justice Center, it's a loss to our community. And so we know on the day that Dale was killed, he died a hero, and he died saving his community.
That was Amber Lake reporting, one of Nix's family members releasing a statement. It reads, "The difference he made will live on through the people he touched and through a family that continues to serve Greensboro."
Well, it's Mayo Bowl week. Organizers plan to host events all week long. Got some video from yesterday's player racing experience at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Players from Wake Forest and Mississippi State hitting speeds up to 160 miles an hour. Today, organizers will host a community event at Second Harvest Food Bank of Metrolina. Both teams are going to give back to the Charlotte community. They'll pack thousands of bags of food for kids in the Charlotte area. It all kicks off this morning, 9 o'clock, about an hour and 15 minutes. The Mayo Bowl is Friday night at Bank of America Stadium. 7:42 right now. Multiple respiratory illnesses spreading across the Carolinas. Ahead, some tips on what you can do to make sure you have a healthy start to the new year.
As the Panthers prepare for one of their most important games, we're getting fans ready right here at home. Danielle Stein is going to be in Tampa providing extended coverage on air and here on WCNC Plus beginning on Friday.
And if you can't make it to Tampa, watch the game with us. We'll be live on WCNC Plus right here for a game night watch party starting at 4 o'clock Saturday with real-time reaction and analysis, including from former NFL safety Eugene Robinson.
.45 now. The measles outbreak in upstate South Carolina continues to grow. In a recent update, health officials reported 20 new cases since Friday. That brings this year's total to 179. 165 of those were linked to those who were unvaccinated. And the latest infections, all but 5, were from exposures to the patient's home, school, or church. Right now, more than 285 people are in quarantine. Officials say vaccination remains the best defense and to contact your health provider if you think you've been exposed. Here in North Carolina, a record flu surge is packing hospitals and urgent care centers across eastern North Carolina. Carteret Health says 113 out of 261 patients last week tested positive for flu. Experts say this strain feels more severe. We heard from a Novant Health doctor who shared ways to avoid getting sick.
First and foremost is vaccination. It's highly recommended. It's safe. It's very useful for respiratory viruses. Influenza is preventable. People over the age of 6 months should consider vaccination. And vaccines can prevent infections like the flu, but also reducing the severity of the flu if you do get it. They're not perfect. We know that, but they can make your infection less severe, which could be important.
That was Dr. David Priest, who also advises anyone with symptoms to get tested.
We're also seeing a rise in whooping cough cases across the country, with nearly 28,000 reported so far this year. It marks the second year in a row cases have topped 25,000. Doctors say declining vaccination rates a big factor here. They also say there have been 13 deaths this year, most involving kids under the age of 1. 7:46 right now on WCNC Plus. We've got the cold, we've got the moisture, so why don't we get snow? Coming up, we're going to raise your weather IQ on why it's so hard to get snow here in the Carolinas and what has to go just right.
Snow in the Carolinas, especially in Charlotte and the Piedmont, has gotten harder to find.
But why is it so hard to see here when it comes to snow? Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees explains in today's Weather IQ.
In simple terms, snow in Charlotte is rare because when it's cold enough, it's not wet enough outside. But sometimes when it is wet enough, it's too warm. But to understand why it's so tough to find snow here, we have to first understand how snow falls in the first place. Snow is an accumulation of packed ice crystals that initially begins high up in the atmosphere. It forms when the temperature is at or below freezing and there's moisture present. If the temperature stays at or below 32 degrees all throughout its trek to the ground, it'll stay a snowflake. If not, you might get sleet, freezing rain, or even graupel. So, the number one thing we need is cold air at all levels of the atmosphere. But that cold air has to arrive before the moisture. We have plenty of moisture here in the Carolinas, from the Gulf and the Atlantic, but the ocean's warmth can influence what type of precipitation happens. This is why storm track is important. A slight shift in track and now we're on the warm side of a system. A common setup in the Carolinas that can lead to cold air damming is overrunning. This occurs when warm, moist air is lifted over shallow cold air, creating precipitation. If the air is cold enough near the ground, it can snow. But if it's too warm, you have rain again. That's why every degree counts and where it happens matters. Here is Charlotte's best setup for snow, the Miller A nor'easter storm track. This scenario tugs cold air into the Piedmont while feeding it with moisture from the Carolina coast, prolonging snow potential. This sets up the cold air before the moisture, which helps increase the chance for snow in Charlotte. Miller B nor'easters can also supply both at the same time, but the track is a little more uncertain. With your snowy weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
Thanks a lot, Brittany. Well, let's transition to New Year's snow. How many times has this happened since 1878 since record keeping began. Well, measurable snowfall has only happened 4 times. 1962, 1882, remember that one. 2010 was the last time, and then 1914. So it hasn't really happened a lot in recent memory. And then a trace of snow has actually happened 6 times. Last time for that was 2001. So it's a rarity, and I'm happy to say no chance of it coming up tomorrow. But some of our more historic snowstorms, I wanted to bring up one major stat as we are heading into the new year. A majority of our worst snowstorms that we've ever had in Charlotte history have happened in February to even around March. Now, we do have some Januaries and Decembers that are sprinkled in there as well, but I'm talking about the worst of the worst typically happen where we're about to go. So keep that in mind. A lot of temperature swings happen in January and heading into February. Realistically, though, as far as winters are concerned, we do okay here in the Charlotte area. But I'm letting you know, Brittany had brought up this term Miller A and Miller B nor'easter setups. Well, technically, this is almost a hybrid between the two. The only difference is that we have warmer air in place. If we had some colder air that was already here, say if we had the air that we began December with, this could be a big time snowmaker, but instead it's going to be all rain. So that's some good news. That's heading into the first Saturday of the new year. So I added some opacity to this so you could be able to see underneath this. But the current trend right now is keeping rain arriving in your Saturday morning and then eventually winding down during the afternoon. Worst case scenario, it's pretty much a washout sunrise to sunset. But I think likely this is going to start to speed up. So just anticipate that at least half of your Saturday is going to be a wet one, but 100% of your Saturday is going to be a cloudy one. Eventually, we'll get this system to push out towards the east. This looks like the top of this, because usually it's about 100 miles north of a low pressure system. We'll have the heaviest snow. This could be a big time snowmaker for, say, Cape Cod in the islands and parts of New England. But the backside of this will cool us down initially, but it's the power of the sunshine that's going to bring us back to a much better range overall. And then high pressure system is going to allow for that sunshine to return. So this coming Saturday separates itself from all the rest. Numerous showers, widespread rain throughout the day. We'll have another slight chance for rain again on the 7th and again on the 9th, but temperatures will be warmer during those days, so still no snow chances heading into 2026. I'm not complaining. All right, that is your weather report. Let's get right over to Majestic on a quiet morning commute.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Hope you're off to a great start to your day. Hopefully you don't have any place to be. Area roadways have been very quiet for us this morning. Even up there in the mountains, of course, still pretty, but I mean, nobody out on those roads there. And Blowing Rock out there in Beach Mountain, once the camera was switched over, you can tell the roads were also quiet there. It was a beautiful sunrise this morning. A little busier this morning here in Boone. That's right there on King Street. And then look at this. This is I-77 at Atondo, where it is gorgeous, feeling like it's 23 degrees though. So as you're heading out for your morning commute, grab those layers, especially if you work outside. You'll want it all this morning. It's going to take you right around 20 minutes if you're making that commute in from Matthews to Charlotte. If you're coming in from Belmont, just over 20 minutes there. Now, as we're looking at our map, we're still mainly in the green, still following one active crash though. It's right around the Uptown area. As we zoom it in, still all green, so that's some good news there. It's on College Street at East 13th Street, specifically the North Tryon Street ramp that is not cleared. And then once we hop on down to the south, following this stalled vehicle on Johnston Road at Ballantyne Commons Parkway. This is not a wreck, just a stalled vehicle, so make sure you're being careful as you're driving right around it. Guys?
Majestic, thanks. 7:55 now. We need to take a quick break. I mean, just a beautiful start. Chilly, but a beautiful start to the last day of 2025. We're back with more, streaming live on WCNC Plus.
Good to see you and Happy New Year. Well, almost. We have a beautiful blue sky across the horizon, just a fading out contrail there, a couple of upper level clouds, but all in all, it is a delightful beginning of the day. Right around 30 degrees is our current temperature, so we officially began our warm up for the day. 33 around Morganton, 21 over in Boone, and high temperatures right around 53. Guess what the average high is for today? 53. 38 degrees is still warmer, at least you're above freezing in the high country. And that sunshine is going to look like what you see in the background there in Rock Hill for the first half of the day. By the mid to late afternoon, we are adding some additional clouds to the equation. Once we approach midnight, 3-2-1, Happy New Year, right around 40 degrees, the wind chill about 35. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast has a warm start to the new year, 60 degrees. Next chance for rain, widespread rain on Saturday. Waits no time, getting back to lower 60s by next Tuesday. All right, Majestic, what's going on?
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Area roads out there, whether you're in the mountains or in and around Charlotte, have been quiet, but we would suspect that lots of people off of work today. Of course, those kids are home from school. It is beautiful, though. 23 degrees is what it feels like. That's I-77 there. Drive times are spot on, not seeing any significant delays. And again, one crash right around Uptown to keep in mind. It will cover more on WCNC Plus.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We begin with breaking news this morning. CMPD is investigating a homicide in West Charlotte.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live there at the scene on Roswell's Ferry Road. She's been there all morning long. Destiny, bring us up to speed.
Good morning. Within the last hour, the scene is now clear. Police officers and investigators wrapped up the first part of their investigation, but they're still looking for, they still have not released any information about the shooter. Someone here shot someone to death early overnight, around 2:30 this morning, and they were found here with multiple gunshot wounds. Again, scene is clear within the last couple of hours. They were focusing their investigation mostly on the outside of Capitan Bar and Grill here on the 2700 block of Roswell's Ferry Road. This morning, they were trying to piece together exactly what happened. They're still trying to figure out exactly what caused this shooting, but they do say that this is an isolated incident.
At this point in time, we are not looking for any suspects, and there's no ongoing threat to the community. This is very early on in the investigation. A lot of things that our detectives are diligently working through. And as we have additional information, we're going to get that out to our community.
So again, a person found here with multiple gunshot wounds and pronounced dead at the scene around 2:30 this morning. And after several hours, the scene is now clear. But of course, this investigation still continues, and they're asking anyone with information to contact their homicide unit or call Crime Stoppers to leave an anonymous tip. That number is 704-334-1600. I'll send it back to you guys live here from West Charlotte.
All right, Destiny Richards, thanks for that live report. Let's check in with Chris now for more on our forecast for the last day of 2025 and heading into the new year.
And it's going to be a good one. I'm super excited about it. 53 is exactly where we should be for a typical December 31st. So it's nice to see, warmer than yesterday across the board, because some of you in the mountains didn't even get above freezing yesterday. Well, different today. Winds out of the southwest up to about 10 miles per hour sustained. I think they could be as much as 20 to 25 when we're talking about wind gusts throughout the day. Our New Year's Eve evening forecast, well, temperatures are falling down through the 40s, but because we are going to have some lingering cloud cover, that's one thing about today. We're sunny for the first half, picking up more clouds by the back half. That's going to keep temperatures right around 40 degrees to the upper 30s as we're counting down into the new year. So right around midnight, expecting 40 degrees. So plus dress accordingly, especially when you're leaving said party or whatever you're doing. Now, our New Year's Day tomorrow forecast looks to be a perfect one. Lots of sunshine across the day. So an all-day sunshine scenario, barely a cloud in the sky. Only exception is maybe heading into the evening, but temperatures mainly dancing in the upper 50s throughout the afternoon to right around 60 degrees. So if you were hoping for kind of a lazy first day of the year, sunshine's maybe going to try to get you going. And of course, it also depends on what you do tonight. And I know that too well from back in the day. The Duke's Mayo Bowl for your Friday. Well, by the time that we're talking about that 8 p.m. kickoff, Wake Forest taking on Mississippi State. Either side of 50 degrees looks to be the norm for the start of the game, and then only cooling down by about 4 degrees for the entirety of this matchup. And there is a slight chance for rain, but likely if we're going to have anything, it might be some mist and drizzle, so not even a trace of rain, but more of that rain is going to arrive through the overnight. Our first rain chance of 2026 is a big one on Saturday. This is the big flip of the script. So this is the big new in the forecast because, one, we're seeing increasing clouds on Friday. Friday still looks to be decently warm, above normal, but it's this low pressure system further off towards the west that's going to slide in and create widespread rain. I'm talking about hours of rain for your Saturday, little to no sunshine for your Saturday. So I mean, it's kind of cloudy and a dreary day. So if this is the day that you maybe wanted to do some stuff inside, I know that you're not supposed to do laundry per superstition for the first day of the year. Maybe wait for your Saturday to do any of those indoor projects. And then that rain, I think, is sticking around for most of the day. By the evening, I think a lot of it's getting out of here. There's still a lot that can change. This is the timing of this. Say if it speeds up, it means less rain for your Saturday in general will come down. And then once you get to Sunday, regardless, I think that we are going to deal with a mostly sunny day, very similar to what we have today, by the way. And then check it out, up to 62 degrees come Tuesday. And that long range forecast actually keeps us in the lower to the mid 60s. That's to be complete week number 1 and head into week number 2 of 2026. I'm excited for the new year. I think it's going to be a good one. Weather-wise, not too bad, except for that Saturday. That's okay. All right, Majestic, how's everything looking? Good to see you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, grab those sunglasses and a heavy layer as you're heading out the door for your morning commute. It is sunny and bright, but boy, it's cold. Feeling like it's 23 degrees here in Charlotte. It's gorgeous, though, and really, we haven't seen a whole lot of traffic this morning. So if you typically allow for a lot of time to get to where you need to be, really, you might not need as much time because traffic is not even nearly as busy as what it typically is because a lot of people, they aren't heading out to work this morning, and those kids, of course, are still out of school. Now, we do have one active crash. It's still ongoing. It's right here near Uptown. It's by 277 College Street at East 13th Street, specifically the North Tryon Street ramp. Once we head down to the south, this is not a crash. It's just a stalled vehicle. It's in the middle of the road. It's a stalled vehicle on Johnston Road at Ballantyne Commons Parkway. And then once we head on over to the east, this is our newer one here. Another stalled vehicle, Albemarle Road at Lawyers Road. Seeing some yellow there, so just a small delay with that. Otherwise, our drive times really are not bad whatsoever. No complaining because we don't have any big construction projects that are ongoing right now and no big accidents on I-77 or I-85.
Majestic, thanks. 8:06 now. This is a live look from New York City, where thousands of people from across the country, in fact, about 1 million total, are supposed to be in Times Square to get an up-close look at that giant crystal ball that's going to be dropping to ring in the new year. But here's the thing. Not everyone's going to be in New York for the new year. Many people are going to be hitting the streets of Charlotte tonight, and CMPD is encouraging everyone to have a good time safely.
The department released a video going over some tips to keep you and your family safe. Take a listen.
Hey Charlotte, New Year's Eve is almost here, and many of you will be celebrating in Center City. CMPD is ready to keep the party safe and fun, but we need your help.
Here's what CMPD wants you to consider. They say stay alert and be aware of your surroundings. Also, if you see something out of the ordinary, say something and contact authorities. Make sure you keep your belongings secure and lock up your valuables. And if you plan to drink, plan ahead so that you secure a ride home. Also, check your rideshare vehicle to make sure that you are getting into the right car. And of course, leave the fireworks to the professionals. Well, speaking of safe celebrations, the Charlotte Knights are helping people ring in the new year here in the Queen City. Light the Knights New Year's Eve party starts tonight at 8 at Truist Field. You can enjoy activities, light displays, and more. Of course, a fireworks show happens at midnight. Tickets start at $16.
Today, some streets in Uptown are going to be closed for New Year's Eve festivities, and CATS will temporarily adjust some of its bus routes in response. Starting this afternoon at 5, CATS buses will skip stops along South Tryon Street between 3rd Street and Brooklyn Village Avenue and 4th Street between Church and Graham Streets. The routes are expected to resume tomorrow morning. Some mail carriers adjusting their schedules for today, New Year's Eve. The U.S. Post Office will operate as normal. FedEx says that physical stores will have modified hours in some locations, closing early. As for UPS, check with your local store for specific changes.
New developments this morning. Wadesboro police announcing multiple arrests in connection to a deadly shooting that happened on Christmas Day. Quantarius Little and Keelan White are charged with first-degree murder. A third person, Michaela White, was also arrested and faces conspiracy and obstruction of justice charges. Police say they found the victim, Robert Pratt Jr., on Montgomery Street, just off Salisbury Street. Officers believe that shooting stemmed from a fight earlier in the day. The investigation is ongoing. This morning, Sycamore Brewing is announcing a temporary closure amid the ongoing controversy surrounding its former co-owner. In a statement, owner Sarah Taylor says the closure will start January 5th to allow space for processing, healing, and the beginning of work to reimagine this community space. She goes on to say Sycamore will be partnering with organizations dedicated to child safety and protection. Taylor added she has started divorce proceedings from her husband and now former business partner, who's accused of raping a 13-year-old girl.
Right now, investigators are still working to learn what caused the house fire that left the father of NASCAR star Denny Hamlin dead and his mother in the hospital. The tragic incident now raising new concerns about fire safety, even in homes with modern protections. Safety advocates say the incident's a reminder that house fires can happen to anybody and they leave lasting impacts.
They happen way more often than hurricanes and tornadoes and all of the things that you hear on the front page news, but people don't think it's going to happen to them.
Denny Hamlin's mother is currently being treated in Winston-Salem, raising another challenging reality. Charlotte doesn't have a dedicated burn center. That means patients with serious burns are often transferred to facilities outside the region for specialized treatment. Meanwhile, tributes continue to pour in. NASCAR releasing this statement, extending its deepest condolences to the Hamlin family, saying, quote, Dennis Hamlin instilled a love of racing in his son and sacrificed greatly to help develop Denny into a world-class talent in the sport. 2311 Racing also releasing a statement saying, quote, everyone is deeply saddened by the tragic news concerning the Hamlin family. They went on to say their thoughts and prayers remain with his family and his mom. 8:10 right now. As the Panthers prepare for one of their most important games, we are getting fans ready here at home. Our Danielle Stein is going to be live in Tampa, providing extended coverage right here on WCNC Plus. That's beginning this Friday.
Now, if you can't make it to Tampa, you can watch the game with us. We're going to be live on WCNC Plus right here for a game night watch party starting at 4 o'clock. It's on Saturday. We'll have real-time reaction and analysis, including from former NFL safety Eugene Robinson. As we head to break, here is an exclusive deal for our viewers.
Hey, our team tests tons of products. We get rid of the rejects. We only bring you the best. And I love this one. It's called the Zippy Sweeper Pro. Take a look at it. And it's got this tri-brush technology here. It's very lightweight, cordless. So you can walk around the house. You just charge it with a USB-C, 30 minutes of use. And it can pick up almost everything. So let me turn it on for you here. Here are some Cheerios on the floor. Very common around my house. Picking them right up, no problem at all. Right? And then here's another problem we have too. Come on down here for a second. This is my dog's dog bowl, and he's a messy eater. So we always have the pet food around too. So look at that. Nice and easy. And it's really, really easy to use too. I've been playing with this for the last few days. Also picked up frozen veggies on the floor too. So it really does work. The other great thing about the Zippy Sweeper Pro, it really gets into places that you really wouldn't want to with a dust buster because it hurts your back. Look how easy this is. Right under my coffee table, and I'm barely bent down at all. Very good for people with back problems like me.
And check out the light on it, showing you exactly where to find those hidden crumbs.
Oh, and I love this. When you're done, all you have to do is pull back this gray handle. Let me tilt this up so you can see it. And it all just comes right out into the trash, no mess. We have an amazing deal on this for you today. Normally, this is $129.99. Today, exclusive for our viewers, $69.99. That is a huge 46% off the retail price. You know it's gonna go. It's while supplies last. Scan the QR code on your screen or go to shoptvdeals.com.
8:14 right now on WCNC Plus. For roughly 22 million Americans, the new year will mean new prices for their health insurance.
The higher prices are because Congress didn't act to extend subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. We're talking about Obamacare. NBC's Ryan Nobles has more on the impact that decision will have.
Joseph DiArmo is self-employed, in his early 60s, and recently diagnosed with diabetes.
A lot more things are on my mind about healthcare than, say, a year ago.
He buys his health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. His premium costs are going up 15% in the new year.
It's a lot bigger than my car payment. It's between my car payment and rent. And it's getting closer and closer to the rent.
He is among the more than 20 million Americans whose health insurance costs are going up because Congress failed to come up with a plan to extend or reform premium subsidies tied to Obamacare that expire at the end of the year. A Kaiser Family Foundation study found that a family of four making $40,000 or less will see their premiums go up more than $800 a year for their ACA plan. Families making over $90,000 will see their costs jump close to $4,000. Republican Congressman Mike Kennedy from Utah is a physician. He believes the impact of the premium hikes is overblown and argues that the Affordable Care Act is in need of a major overhaul.
I want to make sure that those people have excellent access to high quality health care, which I and people like me as doctors have been delivering for many years in the Obamacare process. So there's a way to make this happen.
But moderate Republicans and Democrats believe a short-term extension of the subsidies is necessary while they negotiate long-term reform of the healthcare system.
This is what the people want.
Yep.
The number one issue in America is affordability, and affordability of health insurance is right there at the very top.
DiArmo isn't counting on it. He's prepared to absorb the new costs with the hope he doesn't get sick.
I refer to it as the don't get sick health plan. So basically stay healthy. And thankfully, despite my conditions, I'm pretty healthy.
Even though the subsidies will be gone to start the new year, the Kaiser Family Foundation believes that if Congress can find a deal to extend the subsidies at any point this year, it will still benefit millions of Americans.
Well, after nearly 12 years, the deep sea search resumes this week for a Malaysia Airlines plane that vanished with 239 people on board. The Boeing plane vanished from radar shortly after taking off on March 8, 2014, on its way to Beijing. Satellite data showed this plane turned from its flight path and headed south to the far southern Indian Ocean, where it's believed to have crashed. Texas-based robotics company Ocean Infinity is leading the current search. The company's CEO says it's improved its technology since the last expedition back in 2018, also noting with the help of other experts, they had narrowed down the search area to the most likely site.
The Walt Disney Company has officially settled a major privacy lawsuit after being accused of collecting children's personal data on YouTube. The Federal Trade Commission said Disney violated the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which restricts the tracking of children's personal data without parental consent. Disney has agreed to pay $10 million as part of the settlement with the FTC. 8:18 now, and another live look over Times Square as the final preparations are underway for tonight's New Year's Eve celebration. Ahead, we're going to take a look at your New Year's Eve forecast.
Not necessarily sprinkle time for today's tiny town, which is south of Salisbury and just to the east of China Grove. We're talking about Faith, North Carolina, which has a population of 819, just a little over 1 square mile of territory. Faith, North Carolina, well known for its 4th of July celebration that began back in 1946. This July will be the 80th anniversary of its annual Salute to America. Thousands of people there in downtown Faith for the 4th of July celebration. Historically, President George H.W. Bush was at the parade July 4th, 1992. He spoke to the crowd there and also played in a softball game. Here's a picture of George and Barbara going all the way back to 1992. Today's tiny town, Faith, North Carolina. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
You gotta have faith. Thanks a lot, Larry. Tied for the 7th warmest year on record, and that's still with a day left in the books, but likely we're going to be locking that up by day's end. And one thing I thought was really interesting is this is the 20th driest year on record. That's through 147 years of record keeping here in Charlotte history. Just over 35 inches of total precipitation. At one point we were around the 11th spot, but then we got enough rain through December to move us down to number 20, but still a top 10 to top 20 in both those categories. And speaking of the top 10, this is astronomical. Last year was the warmest year in Charlotte history, and we just reported that this was the warmest year on record globally, but Charlotte, we're around the 7th spot. But what really stands out here is look really closely. Not all the years of the last 10 are on here, but now 7 of the top 10 warmest years on record have happened in recent years: 2016, 2017, 2019, 2025, 2023, 2024. So all of us on this list, 7 of the top 10 have happened in the last 10 years. So it really shows that, yeah, things are changing. I also want to talk about a little optimism for January. January has an average high of 52 and a low of 32. Yeah, that's true. But one thing I thought was really interesting is I went through 147 Januaries that we have on record here in Charlotte, and I saw that 74 of them have hit 70 degrees at least once. So that means there's just over a 50% chance that any given January, any year, could at least pop up to that 70-degree point, and we averaged about 5 to 6 60-degree days during that time frame as well, and boy are we going to see that. So the first day of the year, 60 degrees, we already are checking that box. We will see a cool down back below the normal with a cloudy and damp start to the day on Saturday, but then we're back to the 60s again for Tuesday, heading into day 7, 8, and 9, so already picking up around 4 to 5 60-degree highs to start off the year, so already above average trend to begin 2026. No complaints there. How that actually feels like once we start warming up, actually the first days within the first week, it starts feeling more like November compared to January. Really, temperatures have been all over the place. As far as our lows go, staying above freezing after this morning over the next 10, so a really nice trend. And traffic seems to be trending in a good direction. Majestic?
Yeah, it hasn't been bad at all this morning. It's beautiful, it's chilly. We've only had a handful of accidents. Not perfect, but typically we would see conditions be a lot busier at this time. Feeling like it's still 23 degrees. Beautiful blue sunny skies for that Wednesday morning commute. Let's switch it over to my map. I want to show you a few things that I'm looking at now. This is a new one. It's just going to be south of Uptown. There's an accident right here, now causing 2 lanes to be blocked. It's on Randolph Road North at Colonial Avenue. Once we head to the south again, this one is going to be on Tyvola Road at Park Road. So this is one of our newer accidents. Still seeing green on both Park Road and Tyvola, so not seeing any significant delays so far. And then to the south again, we're looking at not an accident. However, this is a stalled vehicle. Johnston Road at Ballantyne Commons Parkway. Be careful as you're traveling around that. Those are 3 new things that I'm watching for you right now. We'll have another check of those roads coming up here soon.
All right, live pictures right now over Uptown, courtesy our WCNC tower camera. Temperature's right at 30 degrees, but it feels like 23. So bundle up as you head out the door. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
This camera is shaking over here in Anson County, showing a testament that we're going to have a breezy day. Overall, a moderate to a fresh breeze, winds anywhere from 13 to 24 miles per hour on and off throughout the day. So you're going to see those branches sway off in the distance from time to time. For the end of 2025, this is an average end. 53 degrees is exactly where we should be. Same with 50 around Hickory. Through this evening, we'll be right around 40 degrees as we're chiming in 2026. And speaking of, it's a delightful start to the new year. Right around 60 degrees, lots of sunshine to try to motivate you to get outside and enjoy the day. Now, as far as our rain chances go, not much happening for the first week of January in the new year, but one stands out from all the rest. Friday night into Saturday, it looks like it will rain. So our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, warm start to the year, cooler because of that rain chance on Saturday, but then after that, warming up even back to the 60s by next Tuesday. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
Wednesday morning, everyone. It's beautiful outside, but we're starting to see a few wrecks now pop up. It's been very quiet so far this morning. Lots of people off of work today. Of course, those kids are home from school. This is a new accident. 2 lanes are blocked because of it. It's going to be on Randolph Road north at Colonial Avenue. Be mindful of that one. And then once we head down to the south, Tyvola Road at Park Road is a new active crash. Stay safe.
Streaming live right now at 8:30 on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We begin with breaking news this morning. CMPD investigating a homicide in West Charlotte.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live there at the scene on Roslyn's Ferry Road. Destiny, bring us up to speed.
We now know from new information from CMPD that it was a 31-year-old man that was found shot to death here outside of Capitaine Bar and Grill on the 2700 block of Roslyn's Ferry Road. Now, according to CMPD, they arrived here just after 2:30 this morning. That's where they found this man with multiple gunshot wounds, and it was medic here on scene that pronounced him dead. Now, we still don't know very much information about the shooter. And this morning we saw a lot of the investigation unfolding, a lot of the early phases of the investigation. They were taking photos outside of this establishment, going in and out, and also speaking to some possible witnesses in the area. But police did tell us this morning that they believe it was an isolated incident.
At this point in time, we are not looking for any suspects, and there's no ongoing threat to the community. This is very early on in the investigation. A lot of things that our detectives are diligently working through. And as we have additional information, we're going to get that out to our community.
Yeah, so while the scene is clear here this morning, that investigation is continuing. They're asking anyone who may know any information to assist in the investigation to contact the detective assigned to this case or to leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers. That number is 704-334-1600. Again, now confirmed that a 31-year-old man was found shot to death here in West Charlotte. I'll send it back to you guys.
Destiny, thanks. Let's check back in with Chris now for an update on our forecast on this New Year's Eve.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. So check it out. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast is going to be a nice little up and down, but the down isn't really too far below than where we should be. Heading into the new year, we average about 52 and 32 for our high and low, and we will be below that on Saturday for at least the high temperature-wise, and that's going to be our next best chance for rain. We'll spend a little more time talking about that in the short term, but I also want to show you where we're going in the long term, and I really like this side of the forecast. So for the 10-day forecast, we are trending in a really nice direction that we're going to be back into the lower 60s by Tuesday. That's January 6th. And through the 7th, 8th, and 9th of January, so days 6 through 9 of the new year, we're rocking the lower 60s. And that really just continues our trend that we average about 5 to 6 60-degree highs in the month of January. Well, we already could check off anywhere from 4 to 5 to begin the year. So that's going to be a nice little trend that we have going forward. So I like seeing that to head into the new year. So, all right, let's talk about today. Today, for the last moments of 2025, hopefully it was a good year for you. If not, we have a whole fresh slate for you coming up in just hours. Well, right around 9 o'clock, so we're almost there, we have sunshine, and that's what we're dealing with right now. Today on and off is going to be a breezy day with gusts up to 20-25, but we are anticipating some increased cloud cover getting into the middle part of the afternoon. So we'll get cloudier by day's end, temperatures hovering down into the 40s, and then by New Year's kiss, by midnight countdown, whatever you're doing, maybe you're sleeping, midnight sleep, you're expecting temperatures to be around 40 degrees, falling down in the mid to the upper 30s to kick off your New Year's Day, and then sunshine all day long. That I know for some of us, depending on however you treated the hours preceding, maybe you don't want to do too much, but if you do want to start off active for your January 1st, we have sunshine to enjoy and a high temperature of 60, really not too bad. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, that's going to be a slight chance for rain. That officially starts at 8 o'clock on Friday. Right around 50 degrees is the beginning, and we only fall to the mid to the upper 40s. The worst case scenario, we get some spotty light rain or some drizzle that moves in, because this is going to be ahead of our next best rain chance, which, by the way, is Saturday. Saturday, I think the morning is a washout. The only optimism I have for you is the system quickly moves out, so that means it might be drier for the afternoon. But regardless, I think it's going to be all in all a cloudy, colder day that already for the first week of the new year, Saturday we're just going to have 3 superlatives: the cloudiest, the wettest, and the coolest day of the first 7. And then we're right back to normal right around Sunday. And so just letting you know, that's going to be our next best widespread rain chance. As I've already showed you for that extended forecast, that likely we're going to be dry after that. Maybe a slight chance for rain here and there, and then warming up. So here's a closer look exactly what that looks like. Low pressure system passing certainly for the morning. Could speed out of here, but regardless, it's going to be a drier end for the first weekend of 2026. There it is. Let's head over to the traffic world. Majestic, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Well, things are actually kind of getting busier. It's 8:35 right now. It was really quiet to start out the day, and now we do have a few accidents to let you know about. It's beautiful. One of those days where you need those sunglasses for your morning commute and probably a heavy jacket because it's also chilly, even up there in Blowing Rock. But let's switch it on over. This is I-77. You can see traffic is flowing just fine. Usually by this time of the day, we have a lot more traffic, especially from York County into Mecklenburg County. But big picture perspective, I mean, we have mainly green right along I-77 and I-85, so we can check that off. That's good news for your morning commute if you do have some place to be. Still following this, I think this will be our biggest accident this morning. 2 lanes are blocked because of it. It's on Randolph Road north at Colonial Ave. You can see that orange there, meaning that traffic is moving rather slowly, and some yellow there in those southbound lanes, meaning that we have less of an impact, but nonetheless, I would add in a couple more minutes if you typically drive that way. Once we're heading to the south, this is a new accident as well, a newer one. It's on Tybola Road and Park Road. Yellow now developing, medium impacts with that. And then a stalled vehicle. They haven't cleared this one yet, but it's still really impacting areas mainly in the 2 right-hand lanes. It's on Ballantyne Commons Parkway at Johnston Road. I'll let you know once that is cleared. Otherwise, keep in mind those other 2 active crashes that we just talked about. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. 8:36 now, and Iredell County family still recovering after nearly losing their lives in a house fire. It happened just before Christmas. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith has the story.
The Farrell's road to recovery not only includes the items burned away in this home here behind me, but the recovery of their children's health, where minutes made the difference between life and death.
I just had to get my babies out. I didn't see anyone outside when I was screaming, so I guess I acted on instinct.
An instinct that saved Shayla Adair and Hunter Farrell's children in just minutes, only days before Christmas.
When I started crawling, I seen like a little hand in the black, and I grabbed him and I dragged him out, and that's when he started opening his eyes, so at least he started coming to. And then I started yelling for my daughter, and I seen her face pop up on the back of the couch, so I climbed up on the back of the couch and dragged her out as well.
In my eyes, she's a hero, and a lot of others, she's a hero as well.
Adair says once she noticed the black smoke filling the room where she was with her youngest child, she immediately exited the home and placed the baby outside. She tells me she then entered the home again, walking through flames to find her daughter and oldest son.
The Lord was working through me for sure. Had he not been, I don't know that I would have found my son. He was just in the pitch black. Had he not guided me in that kitchen direction, I wouldn't have found the hand to drag him, and he wouldn't be here today.
While the Farrell family has lost all of their material possessions in the house fire.
Clothing and toys for the kids, shoes, and just basic necessities. I mean, we lost plates, cups, everything's got to be replaced at this point.
The most important thing that cannot be replaced is their main concern as their oldest son, Grayson, recovers from the
Our son, he is in ICU and has been there for a week now. He had to get life flighted in, so we can imagine the medical expenses for him are going to be phenomenal.
The family is accepting donations via their GoFundMe page. For ways to donate and support, visit our WCNC mobile app. In Statesville, Bria Smith, WCNC Charlotte.
An update this morning, a memorial service is scheduled for next month for the victims killed in the Statesville plane crash, including Greg Biffle and his family, along with Craig Wadsworth and Dennis and Jack Dutton. It's set for January 16th at Bojangles Coliseum. It's open to the public, and more details will be coming.
Right now, a man wanted for an Anson County shooting death in October is now back behind bars. Authorities say 23-year-old Devon Ramsey was first arrested December 2nd in Chesterfield County, awaiting extradition. However, he was released last week because of South Carolina law that states the requesting agency, in this case in North Carolina, had 20 days to take custody of that person or that person would be released, which is what happened. Eventually, though, Ramsey was rearrested in Union County. He faces a number of charges, including first-degree murder. This morning, an investigation continues after a deadly shooting over vape pens. Mooresville police responded to Mazeppa Park just after 8:30 Monday night. That's where they found two teens shot. One died at the scene, the other was hospitalized. Right now, 5 people, including teens, are facing several charges that include murder.
This week marks 2 years since Greensboro Police Sergeant Dale Nix died in a shooting as he tried to stop shoplifters. As Amber Lake reports, his legacy still shapes the city.
When I woke up this morning, I have to say I was, it was really hard.
2 years passed and Sergeant Dale Nix was shot and killed. He served Greensboro for more than 20 years. He was a leader at the Family Justice Center, advocating for victims and holding offenders accountable.
Always very considerate, respectful. I just can't say more because he was just someone who everyone just loved.
Inside the Family Justice Center, the grief still comes in waves, even 2 years later.
Just the littlest thing can pop up and, kind of have you in tears and just have you thinking about him and missing him.
But for those who worked beside him, Sergeant Nix's influence never left.
If you're working a certain case and you want to be a little bit more receptive to victims, you would ask yourself, hey, what would Dale do in this case? Or how would he approach a certain situation?
And as Greensboro continues to heal, those closest to him say the mission remains clear.
Dale's legacy, he kind of left like an imprint on us to get justice for victims, hold offenders accountable, and we're going to continue to do that as a community and as a police department.
Sergeant Nix's loss, it's not just a loss to the Greensboro Police Department, the Family Justice Center, it's a loss to our community. And so we know on the day that Dale was killed, he died a hero, and he died saving his community.
That was Amber Lake reporting. One of Sergeant Nix's family members releasing a statement that reads in part, "The difference he made will live on through the people that he touched and through a family that continues to serve Greensboro."
8:42 right now on WCNC Plus, and it's Mayo Bowl week. Organizers plan to host events all week long. Check out this video from yesterday's player racing experience up at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Players from Wake Forest and Mississippi State hitting speeds up to 160 miles an hour. Today, organizers will host a community event at Second Harvest Food Bank of Metrolina. Both teams will give back to the Charlotte community. They'll pack thousands of bags of food for kids here in the Charlotte area. All kicks off this morning in just about 20 minutes at 9. The Mayo Bowl is Friday night at Bank of America Stadium. Well, New Year's resolutions are easier to make, but harder to keep. Coming up, we're going to show you how to pick the right goals so you can actually stick to them in the new year.
As the Panthers prepare for one of their most important games of the season, we're getting fans ready here at home. Our Danielle Stein is going to be in Tampa providing extended coverage on air and right here on WCNC Plus beginning on Friday.
And here's the thing, if you can't make it to Tampa, watch the game with us. That's right, we'll be live on WCNC Plus for a game night watch party starting at 4 o'clock Saturday with real-time reaction and analysis, including from former NFL safety Eugene Robinson. Well, the clock is ticking down to 2025, but you still have time to take care of your health.
That's right. Before we move on to a new year, we talked to a family physician about what to cross off your year-end health checklist. You're done checking off that holiday shopping list. Now it's time to move on to another.
This is a great opportunity to take stock of what's going well and what's not going well in terms of your health.
Dr. Keisha Davis with the American Academy of Family Physicians says first on your year-end health checklist, taking stock of your medical needs. If you have conditions like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, or obesity, determine if you need a health reset in the new year and factor in family health history. Next on the list, preventative maintenance.
Are my vaccines up to date? Are those cancer screenings up to date for women? Have you gotten those, pap smears and breast exams? For our gentlemen, have you gotten the prostate cancer screening? For everybody, have you gotten the colon cancer screening or lung cancer screening if you're a current or former smoker?
David says you should also go over the medications and supplements you're taking. Maybe some can be consolidated, decreased, or discontinued altogether. Next, check on your mental and emotional well-being. That includes social connection before and after the new year.
Even though people often are all around us, it can also be a time of feeling really lonely.
And finally, look at your lifestyle choices. Are you getting quality sleep, good nutrition? Do you exercise? All are critical for overall health.
You don't have to wait for New Year's to start that resolution. You can start it right now.
For Health Minute, I'm Lisa Washington.
Live pictures right now from Times Square in New York City, where the countdown is on to the new year. About 1 million people are going to pack the square there tonight to watch the ball drop. And check this out. Crews in Times Square gave that iconic ball a test drop yesterday. You got to make sure it works properly. The new and updated Constellation Ball, as it's called, was unveiled last month. It includes more than 5,200 Waterford crystals and LED lights. This year's drop will include an America 250 design to celebrate the country's 250th anniversary. New Year's Eve celebrations at Times Square have been held for 122 years.
Now, people have different ways to ring in the new year. For some, it's movies. If you're looking for a movie to watch today, the 1989 film When Harry Met Sally tops many lists. The movie follows two longtime friends who work to navigate their relationship while living in New York City. The film comes to a head with one incredible New Year's Eve party scene. Now, we're not going to ruin it for you, but it's a good one to watch. New Year's Eve also means a lot of us probably have some goals and some resolutions in mind.
And this morning, we've got some tips on the best ways to keep those resolutions. First, experts say be picky about them. Instead of making a big, long list of all the things you want to accomplish, keep it narrowed down to 2 or 3 good ones so you can focus on them. Experts also say you shouldn't pick a resolution that you failed at last year. Start with a fresh new one that can motivate you to get it done. And finally, be patient and give yourself some grace. So we talked about resolutions all morning long. We each had a different one. Chris?
Yes, mine is to go against your advice, to pet an otter, which was my goal last year. But then I also want to learn all of the country flags.
Okay.
I already got cue cards.
Unique.
I was going to say
Right.
that's why we love our Chris.
Yep.
Mine is to take more walks.
I like that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I still
More
don't
practical.
I don't have one yet. But
Are you going to, or you're not even
probably
interested?
not. Probably not.
Mine is deleting Amazon for 1 month. 1 month, because I use Amazon way too much. It's so convenient. It's right here on board. Like, oh, that looks good. That looks great. So hopefully saving money in January. And maybe I'll keep it going.
good.
If I can get through the first month and I'm like seeing a significant difference,
I like
I keep it going.
Here's a look at what some of you said about your resolutions. Let's take a look.
Stay active and healthy. Very good. Not to make resolutions. Maybe you were talking to Ben.
Ooh.
Stay sober. I really hope that happens for that person. And spend more time playing with grandchildren, of course.
And I think we had one more, and this was
Our favorite.
a especially good one.
Yeah.
You know, not to miss a single day of watching you guys in the morning. Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to you as well.
Love that.
Love that. All right, live pictures right now over Uptown, courtesy of our tower cam. 30 degrees as you head out the door. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
All right, let's get right to it. So our New Year's Eve forecast is going to be a great one for the afternoon. 53 degrees. That is 6 degrees warmer than yesterday. We'll be on and off breezy though, so that's going to keep wind chills around the 40s to 50 degrees. So keep that in mind, with more clouds starting to increase during the afternoon, but should be pretty decent day. It's also going to be breezy from time to time, with wind gusts getting up to about 20 miles per hour. 20 to 25 I think is going to be the max across the area. Also note, it's so dry, low relative humidity, that it's also really any caution for doing any outdoor burning. So say if you were going to have a bonfire a little bit later on to say goodbye to 2025, extreme caution there. Wind's a little bit lighter by the evening though. Still having a wind chill about 35 when it's 40 degrees as we are chiming in the new year. So here's either side of New Year's Day. 53 today, warmer for January 1st. And then once you get to the 2nd, things are starting to change. We're increasing the cloud cover, and that eventually is going to give us our next chance for rain. A little bit more details for the first day of the year. Sunshine across the board, so almost a cloudless New Year's Day, and it's also an above average one. We should have a high around 52 degrees for a typical January 1st. Instead, it'll be closer to 60 degrees. So happy New Year from myself, the weather department, WCNC Plus, and Majestic Storm Traffic.
Good morning, everyone. Want to give you a couple of updates as we are looking at our big picture. Still, big picture looks okay. Once we take it on home a little closer to Uptown, still following a few active crashes. This one here again will probably be the most problematic, even though it's really not too bad. You're still able to get right past it. It might just slow you down a couple of minutes. It's going to be 2 lanes that are currently blocked. Randolph Road north at Colonial Ave. And then once we head to this one, we're seeing more yellow now, meaning that there probably are those delays that are building just a bit more. Tybola Road at Park Road. And then once we head just past 485, we have a stalled vehicle. It's on Johnston Road at Ballantyne Commons Parkway. Little yellow there, but I would suspect that it's not too big of a delay for that morning commute. If you're going to be traveling this morning on Albemarle Road, we have a stalled vehicle there and Lawyers Road. So actually, it just disappeared right there. So we'll take that for some good news. Overall, it's been a pretty quiet early morning commute. We'll keep you up to date on WCNC if anything major does happen throughout the day.
All right, Majestic, thanks. 8:55 now. We need to take a quick break, but of course, our live stream continues from our live Impact News studio at the top of the hour. Nick Sturdivant is going to be handling our coverage from there. Make sure you continue streaming on WCNC Plus.
Well, a happy New Year's Eve, everybody. High temperature right around 53 where we should be. And just letting you know there will be a slight wind chill on and off throughout the day because we're going to have those wind gusts getting up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour on and off. If you have any New Year's Eve plans, right around 40 degrees, the wind chill of 35. Once we're chiming in the new year, happy early new year, everybody. It is going to be a delightful beginning to the year. 60 degrees for a high. More clouds increase for Friday, and that's going to lead to our wettest, our coldest, and our our cloudiest day of the first week of 2026. Temperatures recovering nicely, though, after that, though. Check it out. Before you know it, we're back into the lower 60s, actually rocking the 60s a majority of week number 2 heading into the new year. So delightful transition. All right, let's see how traffic's transitioning this morning.
Good morning, everyone. It's gorgeous out there. What a nice start to our Wednesday morning. Not even a single cloud for that morning commute. Chilly, though, so yes, grab that layer as you head out the door. It's been pretty quiet all morning long. However, I do want to let you know about this crash here because we do have some delays that are ongoing. 2 right lanes currently blocked. It's going to be at Randolph Road north at Colonial Ave. You can see those yellows starting to pop up there. Not saying significant delays, but keep it in mind. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.